DXY, then of course USD majors, gold and silver. So not a lot to report on, to be honest, with the dollar. For me, price is still trapped within the range, equal highs more or less and equal lows more or less within this channel. So really there's not much to speak about in terms of the progression of price. It's just the same as we talked about yesterday and pretty much the past couple of weeks, which is price is still trapped between support and resistance. So again, in terms of direction, things are pretty unclear. In terms of just opportunities, again, within the range, shorting the highs, buying the lows is your best bet. In the past, 2-3 times price is reactive. We've seen some really nice moves from those areas. Even yesterday, or was that Monday? No, that was yesterday. Really nice rejection of that level. So you're still looking to call the top, still looking to call the lows. That's the best possible scenarios you'll find in ranging opportunities, shorting the highs, buying the lows. Or unless if you're waiting for a breakout, waiting for trending conditions, then yeah, you're waiting for price to make a move outside the range. But until then, these are the best opportunities you will find. At the moment, we're literally in the middle, so this is the worst place to be. There's no significance in where price is trading or even in what price is doing. So in terms of whether price will do this or do that, it's 50-50 to me, so I won't really try and go into too much detail here to try and look for an opportunity, because you're looking too hard, you're probably wasting time. You can probably look at other pairs which are looking better, or if you are focused on the dollar, you can be patient, wait a day or two for things to improve. I mean, this time tomorrow, we've got NFP knocking on the door. We'll probably see some better opportunities post that news releasement. So I would say stay patient with the dollar. Not really seeing much clarity in terms of direction. I can still see a world where we do break to the upside to come back to highs, or we do break to the downside to come back to lows. So until we see price pick a direction, I'm going to stay a bit more neutral and just patient for price to make its move. Same thing for euro. Price is still trapped within the highs here and trapped within the lows. No progression outside of that range. Again, until price does break the highs or break the lows, then we'll have a bit more insight into where euro potentially could head to next. And of course, we'll keep an eye on the dollar at the same time as well. If we do break to the downside through support at 1.159, then for euro, I'm looking at a sweep back to the lows. If you do manage to break through the highs well, then I'm looking for price to return back to the highs over here at 1.182. So despite the move, despite the breakout, there's opportunities in both directions. Again, if you're looking to trade within the range, especially on a more of an intraday kind of time scale, looking to buy the lows and sell the highs is still a good opportunity. I mean, price has been respecting it very, very well over the past few weeks. So if that was your game plan, just looking to buy the lows and sell the highs, you probably would have walked away with some really nice returns. Of course, this is not going to happen forever. Price is eventually going to break out, and it's difficult to know when, which is why it's important for price to wait for price to actually get to these zones, react well, and then look for your buys and then look for your sells, not just jumping straight in. But of course, when price does eventually break out, then again, direction will become a little bit more clearer, at least to me anyway, for euro. And then we can plot our buys, plot our setups from then onwards. But for now, it's just back and forth within the range, and not much development on that side of things. Pound USD likewise as well. We came into some very nice level of support. If you look to our left, really nice reaction over there, nice reaction over there. Briefly resistance over there as well. Didn't quite test it over there, but we well and truly did on Wednesday, and we've seen a really nice reaction. Well, somewhat of a nice reaction. We haven't really properly got going yet, but we have seen some upside from that support level. So same situation applies. Back at the low of support, rejected well, nice reaction. And likewise with the highs over here, with this kind of double top around 1.358, also looking for selling opportunities at that level. So same with euro, until price does make a move outside of this range. Direction to me is just 50-50 right now. Again, if you're looking to call support and buy from that level, call resistance and sell from that level, I think those are nice opportunities as well. But in terms of where the biggest swing will be, where the trend's going to be headed towards next, I'm looking at these two areas in particular. If we do start trending lower, basically break through support here, then that becomes my target. Breaks through the highs, then the resistance up there becomes my target. So I can see price going both ways. It's just waiting for price to make its move. And again, a lot of trading is just about waiting and biding your time. You don't want to rush into anything. And at the moment, I'm not really seeing much apart from buying the lows and selling the highs. Dollar CAD's an interesting one because this was part of my watch list. It still is a part of my watch list, but I'm not the biggest fan of the retracement, so I'm being a little bit more cautious before I do jump into anything, but I am keeping an eye on selling opportunities at this particular level. Really nice area of supply. Of course, we had that original drop to the downside. Lovely consolidation for about a couple of days. And then we saw some nice momentum spill over and more strength from that area. So as price comes back to retest it, I'm looking for selling opportunities to see if I can take price back lower. And of course, this will be my first major target. Possibly even a push down to these lows will interest me, but one step at a time for now. The reason I like dollar CAD shorts is really the level which we're rejecting on the higher time frames. We're coming from a very, very significant level on the weekly chart. As we can see, resistance almost over there, resistance there again, and looks like prices come back into that area. Really nice wick, and we're seeing some rejection. So if we're going to reject this area, we could see somewhat of a repeat of prior reactions, which are not small. These are pretty big moves to the downside. I do think a push back to the lows here is a pretty reasonable expectation there for dollar CAD after a successful rejection of that level. So I'm pretty bearish in that regard. Of course, price could still potentially break through. Just because we've respected it doesn't mean we're guaranteed to fall, but we most likely are. If, of course, price does show signs that it's breaking above, or we'll get rid of that bias, perhaps we're seeing a much bigger up move in that case. But until then, I do have that bearish bias. So putting back into a nice area of supply like this in the full hour is an area which I can consider to short from, provided I see some nice entry confirmations. And I like the way price got there, which is a little bit up in the air at the moment. It's quite aggressive. This does look like a bowl shape pattern, which, as I was talking about yesterday, isn't necessarily a pattern that represents retracement. It's more reversal. So because of that, I do want price to slow down, become a bit more corrective, really show some heavy rejection at this area before I do consider shorting. And if we can get that, that'll be brilliant. Then I'll take it to lows and then so on and so forth. But yeah, that is the plan at the moment there for dollar CAD. Aussie dollar's just been very flat, respecting highs, respecting lows. Again, the plan this week was looking to see what we can do at resistance. Nice rejection there. I did say this is not a big swing I'm looking for. It's more so just a reaction at highs. Likewise, if we do get back to lows again, I think that'll be a smart place for a buy. But again, I'm not looking for a crazy move here. As I zoom out, Aussie dollar looks very, very flat to me. So it's just about kind of finding key areas where price is likely to react from, taking advantage of those moves. Maybe it does turn into a big move. Maybe it's just a shallow move. Price will eventually show its hand. But in terms of these areas, definitely key levels of resistance. And as long as price shows adequate rejection and entry confirmations, you can take some shorts here, just like we did early in the week. And we've seen another reaction there again. If you were to short again, I'll probably have similar targets for a push back into the low. And if you do see price rally beyond this, this is still a key level to short from as well. Of course, the high, the swing high, you could call it, back at 0.662. I still think that would be a smart place to look for some shorts as well. So yeah, very bearish on Aussie at these levels in particular, and of course bullish from these levels here. But the aim of the game is looking to sell high and buy low, really. It's not trending well, so positioning and location of your entries is really, really important. And these areas would fit that criteria. New Zealand dollar, this one has been, of course, in a slight bear. Well, I say slight, it has been in a pretty nice bearish trend. We've got this descending channel kind of encompassing price very, very well. The plan early in the week was looking for price to actually come back and retest the upper end of the channel. Didn't quite see that, just missed out on that, unfortunately. I did say if price was to come back up again and actually test it this time, the trade is still a valid idea. If price gets there and reacts well, that's still a nice place to be looking to short. And of course, back to lows and maybe new lows as well. And likewise, that would still be a good place for a long. As I always say, a descending channel, I treat the same as a normal kind of horizontal range, looking to sell at the highs, buy at the lows, or again, wait for breakouts if that's what you're looking for. So as price operates in the middle, that's not really an area which I want to get involved in, but the highs and lows is really where I want to position myself. So yeah, for now, we've seen some really nice reactions. If price can get there again, I still think it's a healthy place for a short. And likewise, the lows at the moment were kind of in the middle, not really doing much. So until price gets to one of those areas, I would stay away. And in terms of gold, a lot of momentum, I have to say. Things are looking really, really bullish right now. Of course, clearing the highs there at 3,500, like they weren't there. We did talk about this area as a smart place for a buy. I still think that is a smart place for a buy. Nice area demand, brief pause, really strong reaction to the upside. And I do think we can see more of the same. I would suggest, I would still wait to see if price can get there. Nice bearish candle, still providing some wicks to the downside, so we can see there is a lack of conviction in that bearish move. It's not like we're closing very strongly bearish. It is a sizable candle, but altogether, this still looks like a corrective move to me. And I'm not expecting gold just to continuously fly. We're going to see some downside, of course. So, if gold can see a bit more downside, maybe take out this wick low, early buys in the market potentially could take them out before we do continue. And at the same time, testing key area of demand support around this 3,500 area, which of course happens to be a big psychological level as well. But still seeing a healthy trend. No real signs of slowing down. Yes, a bit of downside, but again, you're gonna have downside. You're gonna have pullbacks. So until I see something that shows a lot of selling pressure or structure breaking, then of course I would back away. But for now, this is still very much my take there on gold, just following that momentum. And as for silver, same situation here, really. A lot of momentum there, a little bit more corrective than gold, so perhaps slowing down a little bit quicker. I would probably keep an eye on this supply zone. That's our prior low, which gave us the high. I think this could set up very well like an hourly chart. I think that could be a nice place for a buy. And of course, targets back at highs and probably trading stops beyond that as well. I was talking about these areas for some buys this week. I still like them. I'm not too sure if price will get here. If it does get there, it's a pretty big pullback. So I probably won't be as interested with this area anymore because that's too much of a pullback, if anything. These areas kind of show that momentum is still intact and momentum is still with the buyers. A pullback that deep kind of shows selling pressure has really entered the market. But either around 40.36 and 40 itself on the dot, I think are sensible areas for some buys and targets back to where it came from and possibly beyond that as well.